also autistic. I have the Asperger's form of autism and I have ADHD. Conscious manifesting is my special interest. This is when it comes to children, the whole concept of EIYPO, everyone is yourself pushed out, still applies. Okay, now I'm not talking about using the law to be manipulative or controlling or to be a type of parent or caregiver that one is on eggshells around. Okay, I don't believe in that type of parenting. I believe in accepting people for who they are, personality wise. And I think with children, especially exceptional children, if you have autistic children like I do, like I am both autistic, I have the Asperger's form of autism, and I have ADHD, and all my children are autistic. So there are different sensory profiles, there's different stims, and sometimes one person's stimming can be annoying to another. And I don't believe in changing a lot of that, okay? I believe that behavior is communication. So when a child is having a difficult time, or they're giving me a difficult time, it means they're having a difficult time. So when I talk about changing behavior, I'm not talking about denying who someone is, okay? And when I imagine for other people, even when I'm changing how they show up, I am imagining loving. I'm imagining from a loving place and an accepting place that is looking out for them and imagining from their perspective too of what they would want. And if So one of the ways I have changed the behavior in my children and those around me the most, and I mean very evident big changes, I've really pressed into an image in my mind, a visual image of them at their best, the better version of them that is not going through a difficult time, that is not having a difficult time, that whatever the underlying causes are of whatever the behavior is, I'm not focused on that, and I'm not retelling that story anymore. I'm not holding them to that story. I am visualizing them the way they would be if they were happy, and showing up the way that I like, the way that is also pleasant for me, but also that they would like too. It's not a selfishness thing, and it's not a any type of statement of autism is bad, because autism is not bad. Okay? It's just a different wiring. So one of my go-tos that I use a lot and I talk a lot about, and I've done a couple of videos, and I've written a book about, and I also talked about in my You Are in Barbados book, and I've also done a course on my app, and that is inner hearing. It is my go-to. If there have been any type of auditory components, if there's been back talking, if there's been even some, I'll be honest, there's times when certain stimmings get on my nerves, and I'm autistic. I have no problem with other people stimming, but in a household of autistics, our stims get on each other's nerves, and that means like someone else is humming, someone else's whatever it is that they're doing, making noise of some sorts. It's different when you're the noisemaker than when it's somebody else. And especially if you have sensory issues, or you're sensitive to sounds, you're sensitive to noise, that can be unpleasant. So what I do then is I hear with my inner ear what it is I want to hear. Maybe that's silence, or it's them saying kind things, or them talking about their feelings. them using their words, and whatever it is that I want to hear. And I hear them saying the words that I want them to say. Okay, so if they were insulting, I have 3, so they can get on each other's nerves and they can say unkind things to each other. So if they've been unkind to each other and verbally insulting each other, then I will mentally hear them saying kind things to each other, complimenting each other, the things that I want to hear them say. Same things if there was like a back talking issue, I will hear them saying to me what I would have wanted them to say. So I will change the memory in my mind, because there's no past. Once something has happened, the past doesn't exist anymore. All that you have is memory. And if you keep replaying that memory, you are causing that to manifest. And my go-to feeling is honestly just relief. I might be happy, I might be excited, I might feel appreciative, I might be moved to tears over something, but a lot of times it is just peace. It's or maybe feeling of safety, feeling of relaxation. I'm able to breathe, a big sigh of relief, not stressed out. Whatever the feeling is, or even the absence of a feeling, if it's the absence of stress, you really feel that. And then once you're done, and this all is really quick, okay, it can be in like 10, 15, 30 seconds. It doesn't have to be long. It's really, really important that you die to the old story. And it can be hard if the child or the person is not fully conformed right away. Okay, they might still be doing stuff in the 3D. The way I manifested change, and yes, you can use when we're talking about manifesting, your manifestations can materialize through a number of vessels. Okay, the bridge can come through people, can come through therapists, can come through medicine. Okay, a lot of people don't realize this, but even Joseph Murphy himself, he'd been a pharmacist, and he actually got on a couple whose child died because they neglected the child and didn't take their child to the doctor. So when we're dealing with metaphysics and manifesting, there's this notion about, well, that's not a real manifestation because that came through blah, blah, blah. Well, all things come from within you. Okay, if you're manifesting money, that money's going to come through, whether it comes through a known or unknown source, it's going to appear visually to you as if it's coming from something outside of you, even though it comes from within. So when you're manifesting for your children, there may be a number of ways that you see that the change comes about. Especially if you're dealing with any type of physical ailments, like you may need physical therapy. That's okay. Just because something doesn't seem to materialize right in front of you on its own doesn't mean it's not a manifestation. So there's a number of ways that things can come about, but you have to, at least what I have to do, I mentally hold up a remote control and I press mute in my mind. And I tune out what is still happening in the 3D, and I replay my imaginal scene until it materializes. And I remind myself of this. And I remind myself of my new assumptions in the new story, and how my child, or someone else's child, or this person or that person is showing up. And this is really hard now in the exceptional communities, especially if you are in the process of getting help for your child, or getting therapies, or having to report to schools and deal with IEPs and 504s and all of that. And I mean, there's situations where you have no choice but to retell the story. So if you have to do that, do what you need to do, but don't be hunting and looking for things. Make it a mental practice that no matter what you have to say in the 3D, that in your mind, you are retelling the new story. My child is blank. And fill in that blank with who they are now. Not who they were 5 minutes ago, not who they were an hour ago, not who they were 2 days ago, not who they were last week or last year. Okay, you have to change the story, because memory manifests. And what you ruminate on and repeat in your mind is going to keep manifesting. And you're trapping your child in that old story if you don't change it. You can continue to get them help through appropriate therapies, but sometimes the therapies and therapists, especially behavioral people, I'm not a fan of ABA at all. People who are focused on behavior tend to really go looking for it and tend to label things and tend to have you getting stuck in the story. So you're going to have to go with your gut. And this is something that you'll have a better discernment on the more you manifest, the more you use conscious manifestation in other areas of your life and do other things, then you'll have more confidence in this and how the law works.